Hello, everyone. I'm back. Now we're talking about the free for all. So I wanted to go ahead and get this on your radar for you to start thinking about. And maybe you've already looked at it and started thinking about it. Some of y'all are of that persuasion. I can dig it. But if you haven't, it's time to start. So this is the biggest project of the course. It is worth more than the final exam. It is worth more than than any other assignment. And you'll see why in a minute. So all the stuff that I'm about to show you is in the week 12 folder. So the week after we get back from spring break. It contains the project instructions I'm going to show you. It contains a bunch of examples. And there are some smaller kind of checkpoint assignments leading up to the bigger project, including a formal proposal that you're going to do by a Flipgrid so that your peers can see what you're going to be working on and give you some feedback. And you'll also have your educated discussion board as well. Though if you're like me, you'll read the book in like 2 days. I think I read it in like 1.5 days because I loved it so much. So you might be have this well in hand, so shouldn't be too bad. And you'll have spring break to read it as well. And then you'll have a progress report. So the historical movie review essay will be due week 13. I'm probably gonna make you a video going over that as well because it's different than what you've done up to this point. It's like a full formal MLA formatted paper. But at least start thinking about what movie you're gonna watch and review. And then, okay, progress report. That is not. Is it a Flipgrid? It's not. No, you're just gonna submit it to me. Okay. You can just put it right here in the box, or yeah, you're just gonna put it right there in the box. So I've got some questions for you about how things are going. At that point. So basically, after the historical movie review essay is turned in, you are focused fully on the free for all project, and then you're going to turn in the project, like whatever it is you create for it, and you're going to do a presentation of your project to your classmates and to me. That's two separate assignments, two separate grades. I will remind you of this later because there's always at least two people. One, if I'm lucky, who's like, I forgot I needed to submit the actual project here. Can I still turn it in even though the class ended or whatever? Don't do that. Just turn them in separately for separate grades. Thank you. Please and thank you. But I'll remind you because it's a big deal. All right, the project. Here it is. So these instructions, week 12 folder. So the goal of this project is to look at the kind of cultural, historical context of the time periods that we've been focused on this semester. So this is really important. Whatever topic you pick, it has to be about women in some way, and it has to be like timely, as in nothing before 1960. Now, like some of the movie stuff, well, for the most part, the movies are all like looking at modern stuff. Frida's kind of an exception, though it was made as like a modern day look at a stuff that happened before then, but it's kind of borderline. But you should be so like do not submit a proposal where you're like I want to look at the role of like Puritan women. That's you are hundreds of years off. um like 1960 onward, so we're looking at the when everything changed, so civil rights era, women's rights era, onward until now. Okay, so somewhere in that stretch you are going to write a proposal outlining the topic and the scope of your plans, and you're going to tell us about it on Flipgrid. You're going to turn in a report describing your progress, and then you are going to create this thing, whatever you end up making. We'll talk about your options in a second, and you're going to present it to us via Flipgrid. Okay, so like it says, topics should in some way relate to a woman's role in our culture throughout contemporary history, 1960 to present, no earlier. The key to success is to have a clear and specific focus. So a lot of times, not a lot of times, but I'll get students who they'll come up with a super broad. I want to look at women's rights. I'm like, wow, no way can you cover that in this project. So like when that happens, I will try to intervene and say, okay, let's narrow it down. So like that happened last time I taught the course, and I ended up helping the student, and she ended up kind of pivoting her focus to like she had a bunch of things she wanted to cover. I'm like, let's pick one of these. I'm like, let's look at something that like maybe we didn't look at as much in class with the readings. I'm like, what about here where you're saying, you want to look at all the ways that the women's rights movement is like has yet to succeed, like there's like the ways that it failed. ways, like things that it did not accomplish that it wanted to, that we're still dealing with, like that right there could be an entire project. And it was a great project, and she did a great job. So it's better to say a lot about a little than a little about a lot. Okay? Let that sink in. It is better to say a lot about a little versus a little about a lot. And it does not have to be something like that. It can be like, think about what you're into. So if you're into music, or you're into art, or you're into you're a like a finance kind of person, and you really want to look at like, okay, I want to look like one of the first women to have a stock trading job on Wall Street, and like her whole deal. I actually follow that lady on TikTok. She's really cool. Um, or I'm really into fashion, and I want to look at like I had a great project on the wrap dress. If you've never heard of the wrap dress, it was by Diane Feinberg. I can't remember her name, but she like designed the wrap dress. It was huge in the 70s, and it like changed women's fashion forever. Um, it was great. It's a great project. Like again, super specific. So don't try to take on too much by picking a broad general topic, and it needs to be something that supplements or relates well to the course material. So that's something that you need to make your pitch for in the proposal. Like, how is any of this relevant to what we've been looking at? It's pretty wide open, but you still need to be able to draw. It doesn't have to be like about an author that though some people do that. Some people are like, I want to look more into Marjane Satrapi and like what happened to her after she wrote Persepolis. Or I had a really good one about what happened to Tara Westover after, like what her life's been like, what she's been doing since Educated like blew up and became this New York Times bestseller and a huge deal. So, although it's up to you to develop this assignment, here's some general ideas. You could do an analysis of an examination of one woman author from the time period. Doesn't have to be one from our list, but some people do that. It could be an analysis of a historical event which happened during the time. It could be an accomplishment for women, a crime. So I think one of the examples I'm going to show you is that I had a student who was really interested in the Sharon Tate murder, like that was perpetrated by women as part of the Manson cult. It's really good. I'll show it to you in a second. I'm pretty sure I put it up there. I'm a big true crime, of course. Of course, I fit the profile pretty obviously, but um, and I particularly like crimes involving women because I just think they're interesting. They're just different, you know. You could do an analysis of one written work by a contemporary author that's, you know, something else from an author that we looked at, like something else by Alice Walker. I've had someone do that, or it could be someone that we didn't read. An exploration of an important contemporary woman artist or musician, fashion changes for women, that kind of thing. So stay in touch with me. Talk with me as you work. Definitely, I'll give you feedback on your proposal, but stay in touch with me and keep me in the loop for sure. I love talking about it, so this is the fun part. Okay, what can you make? So you got to make something for this project, some kind of like product. You can make an infographic. So there's lots of cool free software out there for making infographics. I like Canva, but you do you. You can make a PowerPoint, it's fine, I guess. Like, it's fine. Um, it's not my favorite. It's pretty boring, but if you want to go that route, that's fine. Prezis, those can make some really neat looking presentations. So, I mean, I'm not an expert on using those, so um, but if you've done it before and you like what it does, it's definitely more kind of artsy and creative. Padlet. So I love Padlets. These are pretty popular, and I've linked to the Padlet site. You can create an account and make, I think, two for free. And it's got different formats you can use. So if you wanted to make like a map, so these are all interactive, which I think is cool. Or you could do a timeline of something historical. There's Stream that looks like a social media feed. Walls, just a bunch of stuff. Or this is kind of neat because it's like if you need to draw connections between things, you can do that. But basically, I'll show you some examples of ones students have made. But you can put pictures in, links to videos, text, obviously, all kinds of stuff. It's like you make your own little like one page website sort of thing. I like it. It's cool. It's free. It works really well for this project. Just putting it out there. Or I have had students who have made websites using like let's try and think of something free. It's obviously a little bit more in depth to make a website, and you don't have to do that. But there are some good. I'm trying to think. Wix is a pretty easy to use one. Squarespace, I think you have to pay for. I'm not sure. You probably know more than I do. Or like Google. I think Google, you can make sites with Google. Anyway, I will let you decide. So this is something you need to tell us in your proposal, like what kind of format your presentation is going to take and why you feel like that would be the best for what you're doing. Hopefully your answer is more than just, well, I know how to use PowerPoint and I'm not really feeling like learning anything new. Then why are you in college? Learn something new or do a PowerPoint. That's fine. I just get a lot of them and it gets boring. Project must be thoroughly researched using a minimum of 3 outside sources. They do not have to come from the databases, but I highly recommend them because now it doesn't work great for all topics. Like I had a student do hers on the Guerrilla Girls, which is not like the animal gorilla, but like guerrilla warfare. But it's basically like a whole movement about like sexism in the art community, and I think I used it as one of the examples, but the databases didn't work so great for that. And she wanted to use some stuff that was actually from the Guerrilla Girls site, and that was totally cool and great. It worked great. Um, but we've got good historical stuff there. But you do need to document your source use within the project using MLA format. And obviously, I want you to use the source use and citation quick guide that I always want you to use. So um, that means you're going to need like a works cited in the project for sure. Where it goes in there is up to you, but it does need to be in there. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. Okay. So it does like whatever it is, it's going to run through a plagiarism detection. So don't just copy paste stuff in there. That's obviously wrong and not an indication of learning anything. You're going to present this by Flipgrid. You're going to submit the project itself for a separate grade. And I hope you do have fun with it. It's left so open because I want you to think about how all this stuff relates to your life and how you can take something from your life that is personally interesting to you and relate it to the course material or like learn more about it and go really do a deep dive. So please, yeah, just don't think about it as like, oh, it's one more thing I have to do. Like it's something you get to do. Not all lit courses take this route. They have you do like some kind of research paper or something on top of the other research paper because they feel like, oh, well, we can't trust students to come up with good project topics. I disagree. And I've gotten some phenomenal ones. Really, every semester, they're all good because I think having that autonomy to make your own decisions about this and to um, do something you care about, I think is really important. So I do hope you'll throw yourself into it. I hope you'll enjoy learning more and sharing with us. And I've been doing this for years, and students tend to be very enthusiastic about the freedom of the assignment. Some hate it, some are terrified of freedom and want me to tell them what to do. Sorry. It's time to shove you out of the nest. Most of the time, though, people like it. There is definitely, though, a lot of discipline and responsibility that comes with inventing your own assignment and being your own boss on this. But I am here to help. I am your guide on the side. I've done this for years and years, and I'm whatever you need feedback wise, I will be honest with you and let you know. But the worst thing you can do is let things creep up on you and be stuck having to create something you're not proud of at the last second. So, all right, examples. I've got a bunch of Padlets here. This one is about Sylvia Plath, the author Sylvia Plath, which I wish we had time to read something from Sylvia Plath. But this is about her. So this is one of those kind of arrow style ones about the role, like basically how her mental health issues were diagnosed and treated. So she was a very famous author during the time. Well, she actually wasn't really famous until after she died, tragically. But how we handled women's mental illness and issues in the 1960s versus today, very different. So that's a good one. Check it out. This one's really good too. It's a deep dive into the crisis of African American women's maternal health. So I will, this is a Padlet, but it's got kind of an infographic style to it. There's a works cited. Check that one out. Really good. I mean, like I said, most of the ones I get are really good, but Kamala Harris, first woman vice president of the United States. So hopefully you're kind of seeing it. See, it's kind of neat. And Tara Westover, like I was telling you, this one is about. So this is the author who wrote the book that you are going to be reading this week and next-ish weeks. So like, what is she doing these days? I thought it was a cool idea. The student, like, basically, she finished the book. She's like, I want to keep going. I want to know more about what happened to this author. I feel very invested in her, which is great. Okay. Sharon Tate, Women of the Manson Family. So you'll have to download these to see them, but they're PowerPoints. This isn't for you. It's for a different class. I love the trippy kind of 60s aesthetic. There's kind of a lot of text. So you have to keep in mind that you're going to need to present this by Flipgrid and like how it's going to look on Flipgrid. She did a good job, but even though she used APA for her works cited format and she lost points for that, but I'm not going to go through and fix that for her. So don't do that. And that's for something else. This one's about episiotomies, which is a childbirth, which like they don't. It's controversial for a lot of reasons, but a lot of times they don't get a woman's permission before they do it. I certainly was not asked my permission before it was done to me. I didn't know it had happened until it had already happened. So, a little fun fact about your professor there. Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009, then, and where it has gotten us or not gotten us now. So I will let you check out those yourself because this is getting long. And then, okay, for your proposal. So this is basically you making your pitch, your elevator speech to us to sell us on your idea for this free for all assignment. You want to make sure that by the end of your proposal, we understand what it is that you're going to be focused on, your topic, the scope of your topic, like how broad or how narrow you're going on this, the what you feel like are the strengths of this particular, what you think is going to be really good about it. Like I like to think of the free for all project is almost like a museum that we create at the end of the semester for the class, and that like it's almost like we're curating a museum of women's history and cool stuff. So what are you adding to my museum, basically? The opportunities for learning for the rest of us. I love learning stuff from the free for all presentations. Connection to our study of literature and the importance of this particular presentation method, whether it's PowerPoint, Prezi, Padlet, website, whatever. And you're going to give us a tentative schedule that you plan to follow for getting all this done. So like take us through, okay, I plan to have this done by this time, this done by this time. I'm going to be working on this at this part. And like, don't just be like, I'm going to meet all the deadlines. Well, yeah, you are. I mean, so everybody is. You better. So you are totally allowed to adjust as you go. It's very common. It is fine. Just before you make any, before you like hit the eject button on a project and be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to completely change it. Just reach out to me first because it may just be a matter of like massaging the topic a little bit, pivoting on it to make it more, feasible or something you're more interested in. So don't completely bail before talking to me. Okay. What should be in the proposal? You're going to give us a brief, like don't forget, you're going to tell us more about all this stuff later. Just a brief summary of the topic, scope of the plans, explanation of reasons why it should be approved. What are we going to learn from this type of project? Why? Explanation of how what you're going to be doing relates to what we've been doing in the class. Where are you going to go for sources? Timetable, due dates for yourself, and questions or concerns you have moving forward that I and your peers can respond to. Okay, that's going to be done by Flipgrid. If you want to show us something, which can be cool, sometimes students are like, here, I really just need to show you what this person looks like, who this person is, or show you this thing. You can share your screen. I don't know why it's making me sign in, but you can share your screen and whatever you want to on your screen. Ugh, all right, just trust me that it will let you do that. Okay. That can be cool. Don't feel like you have to make a whole PowerPoint for your proposal. Sometimes, an outline can be helpful. With it, like just show us a Word doc that's got a couple of pictures and like a basic outline of what you're going to talk about. That can be cool to show us as you go, and it's good practice for the presentation itself. But yeah, that is that on that, and then progress report tells you what you need to do. And yeah, check out the examples, start thinking. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or if you're like, I have 5 topic ideas, can you help me pick one? Yes, I can. I would be delighted to weigh in on that. All right, sorry this got really long, but huge project, so there's a lot to cover. Thanks for hanging in there, and spring break is almost here. All right, have a great week and great break. Bye.